Imagine for a second a philosophy that wasn't built out in the open. Imagine an architecture constructed in the shadows, made from all the ideas our world decided to throw away, to suppress, to bury. Well, today, we're taking a tour of that forbidden structure. Think of it as a parable for our times.
And this one line, this is the key that unlocks the whole thing. It really sets the stage for the story we're about to get into. A story about a world that has become so comfortable, so insulated from reality, that it's lost touch with the most basic fact of existence. A world that, frankly, needs a wake-up call.
All right, so our journey through this forbidden architecture is going to unfold in 6 parts. We'll start in a world of cozy comfort, then we'll witness a huge conflict, meet a pretty terrifying messenger, explore a philosophy of complete annihilation, dig up some forgotten heroes, and finally, see what happens when something totally new begins.
So, where does a story like this even begin? It starts in a place called an unearned sanctuary. Just picture an overripened civilization, a world built on these really comforting ideas that have actually made it weak and stagnant. It's kind of like a perfectly manicured garden that's never had to face a single storm. Sure, it looks beautiful, but is completely unprepared for the reality it's worked so hard to keep out.
And this right here, this is our core concept. See, this isn't just a random collection of edgy ideas. The architecture of forbidden philosophy is a very deliberate project. You can think of it as a kind of intellectual salvage mission, literally digging through the rubble of history to find the truths that powerful people wanted to keep buried.
Of course, every story needs a main character, so meet the Red Spectre. Now, this isn't a person. Not really. It's a force, an internal architect whose only purpose is to tear down the comfortable lies of that sanctuary and draw a new map, a map of what's really out there, a finite, terminal existence.
And now that we've met our protagonist, the central conflict can really kick off. This is the absolute heart of the parable, this epic collision between the painful, messy, but totally necessary force of growth and that deep, primal human urge to just stay safe and comfortable.
This slide just lays it all out, side by side. On one side, you've got the Red Spectre. It's all about the agony of creation, the spirit of becoming, of climbing toward a difficult truth. And then on the other side, you have the archetype of the last man, which really represents the herd. This is the side that prefers safety, comfort, and the unearned security of just staying down in the valley.
So you might be wondering, how does the herd fight back against a force like the Spectre? Well, they use something called slave morality, and it's a seriously powerful tactic. See, the comfortable masses, they can't compete on strength or creativity, so they just flip morality completely upside down. They label anything that challenges them, anything that disturbs their cozy little nap, as evil.
But just when you think you've got the conflict figured out, the whole story escalates. The Spectre, it turns out, was just the beginning. Now a new power enters the stage, something way older, and frankly, much more terrifying. This is the harbinger of a real ending.
I mean, listen to that language. It's so deliberate, right? It builds this incredible sense of dread. This new power, it doesn't rise up from the people. No, it descends from some hidden, ancient, and powerful place, from the highest peaks of the Shadow Cabinet. And here it is, the sovereign of the Snowy Mountain, also known as Grimnash. And yeah, it's inspired by the chilling Wendigo myth. This thing is an architect of negation. Its job isn't to build anything, but to uncreate, to systematically tear away the masks that society wears to reveal the rot that's been hiding underneath all along.
And the arrival of the sovereign means something final. It signals the beginning of the great evening, which is a poetic way of saying it's the end of an era. It's this idea that the sun is finally setting on human achievement, and that sunset is not going to be a peaceful one.
So what on earth drives a creature like this? Is it just pure random chaos? No, not at all. The sovereign is operating on a very specific and terrifying philosophy, a deliberate process of annihilation.
And that philosophy is called active nihilism. Now, this is really different from the passive nihilism you might have heard of, the kind that just says, oh, nothing matters. Active nihilism is a project. It has a goal. And that goal is to purposefully take apart the gilded cage of our modern world by systematically stealing the meaning we've given to everything, forcing us to look at the void underneath.
So how does he actually do it? This slide breaks down the playbook. First, he totally rejects our physical achievements, our trophies. He sees all the constant noise of our culture for what it is,
just a mask for a terrifying silence. He mocks anyone with empty hopes, praying to avoid. And then, finally, he gives a gift, the bitter gift of despair, that cold, hard clarity you can only get when all your false hope is gone.
This quote just nails the sovereign's entire worldview, doesn't it? Our ideas of permanence, of things that last forever, they're nothing more than a defense mechanism. Just a thin coat we wear to try and protect ourselves from the cold, biting truth of our own temporary existence.
But, and this is important, this whole philosophy isn't just about destruction. Remember that intellectual salvage mission we talked about? As the old world gets torn down, forgotten truths start coming back into the light. The architecture unearths these incredible figures who were deliberately buried by history.
Here are just a couple of examples of these unearthed figures. You have Apollonius of Tyana, a seriously powerful sage whose ideas were a threat to emerging orthodoxies. So what did history do? It dismissed him as just a magician. Then there's Apollonius of Perga, a brilliant geometer whose work on the infinite was so radical, so ahead of its time, it was actually deemed dangerous and censored.
So why do these guys matter so much? Because they're proof. They are living testaments to the fact that our mainstream version of history is curated. It's been edited. They show us that powerful institutions have always tried to hide or twist any truth that challenges their power, especially the most uncomfortable truth of all, our own mortality.
Okay, so this brings us to the final act of our parable. We've seen the stagnant world, we've met the specter who challenged it, and we've seen the sovereign who came to end it. So, what was the point of all this destruction? What's the final revelation?
The idea here is that of an honest currency. In a world full of artificial things, of fake comforts, wax fruit as it's called here, the sovereign provides the only authentic thing left. And that is the terminal shudder, that undeniable, terrifying, and totally honest reality of the end. That uncanny mirror is basically the false, self-righteous image that society holds up for itself, that illusion that we're all good and noble. By shattering that mirror, by forcing the world to see its true, decaying reflection, the cycle of stagnation is finally broken. And for the first time, genuine movement, what's called the soul in motion, is possible again.
And here it is. This is the ultimate goal. All of that chaos, all that destruction, it was never the end of the story. It was only the end of the prologue. By clearing away all the rot and the illusion of the old world, a path is finally made for something new, something greater, the Overman, to rise up. And so our parable ends, not with a neat and tidy answer, but with a question that just hangs in the air. The stage has been cleared with fire and negation. The unearned sanctuary is nothing but a ruin. And we're just left to wonder, what comes next? What rises from the ruins?